Hello, my wonderful viewers. Welcome to my platform. This is Linda's TV show. If it is your first time of coming across this channel and you like what you see after watching, please subscribe, put on your notification bell, set it to all notification. In that way, you'll be able to get notified each time I upload a new video, even those without notification. Here we react to all forms of videos, international and local. Every Saturday by 2 p.m. we have our interaction section. You are free to call in to air your opinion about the happenings in our society. Invite your friends, share my videos with your families and colleagues. Do not keep this information to yourself. Myself, I will be sitting down here to watch this video together with you from the beginning to the end. Then we'll go to the comment section and leave our comment, our opinion about the video we watch constructively.
One of the things you've talked about is it's not so much that Biafra has to be an independent state, but it has to be economically viable, and you can't really have that with Nigeria as it is. How do we get there?
We cannot be economically viable if we are not politically viable.
Right.
And political viability means complete and absolute independence.
It has to have, yeah.
We must be independent.
Yeah.
And again, God creates countries and nations, not man. There are many ways that nations can emerge. It is always an organic process. We understand that. We respect that. What most commentators don't appreciate about Africa, and which most Africans are a bit slightly uncomfortable with, is that somebody coming from Europe and without regard for your culture, your traditions, your way of life, saying you are now in one country and your name is Nigeria.
Right.
There is something unnatural about it.
Yes.
I said to the British government, if you had come, conquered my people, which is a natural human process, that is entirely natural.
Right.
If you had come, conquered our people, made us English, I can live with that.
Yeah.
But to come and hand over a children of God over to something completely alien, this same culture that we have in the north, which is an Islamic culture, tried to take us over many years ago, and they failed. You now came and completed the cycle for them. There is something evil about it.
Yeah, something inorganic about it.
Inorganic.
Yeah.
Very, very inorganic. And you cannot. We don't talk about economic development, because before you talk about economy, you talk about things like policies, both macro and micro, the rest of it. You are dealing with people who cannot differentiate between macro and micro.
No, absolutely.
That's
right.
a problem.
Yeah. Education is key for the world outside Biafra, and that's where this starts. The political has to start in the education.
That's correct.
When you speak to people in the UK, people in the US, is there an openness to independence for Biafra?
No, there isn't. It's what you get is very condescending, wishy-washy. These are black Africans. Really, what do they know? Sort of attitude. We know best than they do, and we try as much as possible to enlighten and educate the American and, by extension, the European audience to the fact that before you had freedom and liberty in any part of the world, in Biafra land we had freedom and liberty. Before you had political asylum in any other part of the world, where I come from, there was political asylum being granted to people. That is the meaning of Biafra anyway. Come and join if you believe in our value system. We had a series of both political, legal, and legislative structures that endured for thousands of years. These were unceremoniously swept away in the name of, I don't know, civilization or advancement.
Right.
Therefore, the British must be questioned, or the mentality or the psyche of Europeans and, by extension, Americans must be put to the test to explain, to rationalize why the emergence of states in Africa cannot be allowed to adopt the same organic route by which every other civilized nation emerged. Why is that impossible? That's what I ask Americans and Europeans.
And their answers are not good. There are no answers.
Yeah. They don't have any answers to it. All they say is that, oh, why don't you just get on with it? I want the same things that you have in America. I want liberty. I want freedom. I want all the rest of it. That is what makes you a human being, or else you're an animal. And being forced to live in cages in Africa, or being forced to live more or less like animals, is not a situation we are prepared to tolerate for very long.
No. Yeah.
Death is better.
Have there been armed clashes between Biafrans and Boko Haram? Has there been a defense of Biafrans?
No, not at all, because we are not allowed to defend ourselves. They can kill us. They can get arms flowing in from Lebanon, from Iran, from Saudi Arabia. There are jihadists coming from all over the place, coming in there. There was a plane load of arms that came in, was detained at the airport from Egypt. The Arab world, that is what drives me insane. The Arab world and the Islamic world are busy supporting Boko Haram in their stated aim of spreading Islam to Christians in Nigeria. The Christian world are not reciprocating. They're not coming to our rescue. I don't know how you can defend yourself against somebody who is armed with RPGs, armed with AK-47s. I don't know if you do that through prayer and fasting. I do not know.
Right.
But that is the sort of condition we're faced with. In other words, as we speak right now, the process of Islamization is gathering momentum, and no one is doing anything.
Right. It's medieval. It's you will convert or you will die.
They crucified some people. Was it 2 days ago? I think we've got the pictures on Facebook.
They actually
crucified some people.
They actually crucified.
Yeah, they did. Yeah. It's something ISIS is doing that they're doing that we're going to. You either convert or we kill you. And I don't know why the world expects us to deal with that. It's either there is something going on. It's either everyone else is a Muslim. That's why I say sometimes that everyone in the West is a Muslim. That's what I say, because you couldn't possibly keep quiet when such a thing is going on.
No.
It's terrible.
No.
Terrible.
You're opening my eyes in ways I knew this was going to be eye-opening. I did not realize what is happening. Who is Boko Haram organically? Are they a government creation? Are they...
Boko Haram is, you need to understand the geopolitics of Nigeria to then start comprehending the concept or the ideology that drives the insanity that is Boko Haram. In the north, you have the areas you call the Mohammedan Emirates of the North. Mm-hmm. These are people who are predominantly, by ancient culture and tradition, Islamic. They are Hausa, Fulani people. In the west, coming down near Lagos, is you have the Yoruba people, and in the east you have the Biafran people. Now, the Hausa Fulani people, we are told by the British that they have the right to rule in perpetuity Nigeria. The British in 1953 and 57 were involved in a massive fraud to rig the census results. In other words, they skewed the numbers to always favor the Hausa Fulani people that they may remain in power. And the reason for that is that the British is scared that Biafran people, especially the Igbos, are somehow human, that we can think properly.
Yeah.
And we have the oil. The oil wells the reserves, everything is where we come from.
In Biafra.
And the British couldn't retain or sustain their colonial presence in Africa because the USA asked them to leave. So what they now did is to take the control of the oil, hand it over to a group of people they think they can manipulate very easily. That's all. That's what has happened. And now they now believe that they have the right to rule. Unfortunately for them, President Goodluck Jonathan, the incumbent, emerged out of circumstances that could be described as somehow mysterious. He came up as the president, and now they don't like it. 3 people funded Boko Haram. The ex-president, head of state Buhari, another ex-head of state, Hausa Fulani Islamic person called Babangida, another vice president, Atiku Abubakar. They consciously went out to fund Boko Haram. Because Buhari said, after Jonathan won the 2011 elections, that I will make the country ungovernable. He said it openly. Oh. And they went ahead to do it by killing poor, defenseless Biafran Christians. Because they know that Christians around the world will not come to our rescue.
Yeah.
They also know that no other people will come to our rescue because they don't want us to emerge as a people. That's a problem.
Yeah. So the British don't want you to emerge as a people.
No.
Aha.
That's a problem.
It's a huge problem.
Massive. But this time around, whether they like it or not, I'm sure the British didn't want the USA to emerge either.
No.
Whether they like it or not, we shall emerge.
Yeah.
Or everything else there will die.
It'll have to. I mean, It's one or the other at this point.
One thing has to happen. Either we have Biafra or we all die. There's no going back this time around. There'll be no exile, no running away. That is our land. We've lived there for thousands of years. That's where we were born. That's where we'll die.
Yeah. Are you all willing to go back and be there?
At the drop of a heart, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And a heartbeat.
Yeah.
We'll go there.
And obviously loved ones are there. And
they're there. My parents are there. My loved ones are there.
Yeah.
And it's a land we've been in for, as I said, thousands of years.
And a history and a rich culture and a vibrant way of life that has literally been
obliterated.
Yeah.
You go to the book of Leviticus. 80% of what you have in the book of Leviticus occurs where I come from. 80%. 80%.
The Levitical law.
Everything. It wasn't us. I strongly believe, this is my hypothesis. Of course, I hold on to it very strongly. As soon as the British discovered in the late 18th century, because the same Hausa Fulani people in Zamfara told them, I think I have the map somewhere in London, that across that river lies what they believe to be part of the lost tribe of Israel, or hell broke loose. Yeah. There was then a very systematic and deliberate policy to obliterate our history. The British first said that the Igbos don't have any history. First of all, they removed the name Biafra, which was exactly the name they used to go into treaties with us. They use, you see there clearly written, the chiefs of Ishekiri and Biafra. They then quietly took that away to now only take a component of that, one clan alone, which is Igbo. Because in Biafra you have the Idoma, you have the Igbo, you have the Bibio, you have the Efik, you have the Izon people, which they call Ijo, you have the Shekiri, you have the Robo, and some parts of Igala.
Wow.
These are the 7 people that make up, these are the 7 tribes that make up Biafra land. The British came, then isolated all the rest, those of our cousins around us, and focused their attention on us. But there's one good thing about it, is that in their amalgamation document that they produced in 1904 or thereabout, which I still have, they made reference, the very first time a European is referring to an African race as great. Yes, the man said the great Igbo race across the Niger. And that speaks volumes.
And the Niger's the river.
The river.
And so Nigeria is taken from just drawing lines on the map from the river.
Of course.
Yeah.
That's the name. I mean, the name is Nigeria, named after a river. Before that was the Royal Niger Company, which is a British company,
right,
which by royal charter was running the whole place. And then from there, incrementally, I have all the paperwork that they signed. At no time did we give the British the consent to form a country called Nigeria. At no time in our history. I have all the paperwork. We gave them our land to trade.
Right.
That's all. But they went ahead and gradually decided to form a country. Despised us so much that they handed us over to Hausa Fulani Islamic Caliphate. And now they're killing us and nobody's coming to our rescue, which I think is very sad.
If we come to the rescue, how are we coming?
We need support from USA, from United States government, from the Christian community in the USA, and more importantly also from the Jewish community in the USA. They did something, in fairness to them, in 1968, 69, 70. the Jewish Congress in the USA did something. They tried to lobby the US government and Congress to do something about Biafra. From these three groups, we expect a lot to come from them to pressure the Obama administration to support what we are doing, to make sure that Biafra comes to exist. Biafra is the only natural ally that USA will ever have in Africa.
In Africa, yeah.
Natural. We are never going to bomb USA. We can come here to work for you. We're never going to kill you. That's
Right.
number one.
Yeah.
We are very, very loyal, hardworking, and friendly people. Go and ask anyone, they will tell you. And I see no reason why a people that believe in the irreducibility of an individual, that believes in liberty, that believes in equality and in freedom, the same creed, the same ideals upon which this very great nation, USA, was founded upon, why would you not naturally gravitate towards those people? I can't understand it.
Right.
And if you want to stop the menace of Boko Haram, they should support the creation of Biafra.
Absolutely.
That's all they need to do. We don't want them to do anything. Just come at the UN or make a press statement in the White House by saying that the people of Biafra, their suffering is intolerable. We may have to revisit the issue of them still belonging to one Nigeria. That's what they need to say. That's all.
And it would change.
It's done.
Yeah.
It's a game changer. It's finished.
Yeah. Wow.
We don't need U.S. troops to come.
No.
We are more than capable. We held out for 3 years.
Yeah.
Against the combined minds of Britain, USSR, and the entire Arab world.
Yeah.
For 3 years. So we can deal with them. Trust me, we can. We can.
And do they want that? Does Boko Haram want that? Do they want that violent end?
They do. And sometimes in life, you need to confront them violently.
Yeah.
Or else it will continue to fester.
Yeah.
We must meet them.
And that's hard as Christians.
Yes.
That's hard.
Very, very hard, because we don't take life where we come from.
No.
In other cultures and religion and language, you call another person a human being or a person. Where we come from, we say mad, which means the beauty of life. So you're forbidden from killing anybody.
Yeah.
You don't kill somebody, because that is the embodiment of God's creation. A person is known as mad. Mad means beauty of life. So you don't take life. So it's very hard for us.
Yeah. But you've been pushed.
No, we are being killed.
Yeah.
Killed.
Not pushed, killed.
Not pushed. We are being killed.
Let me ask a couple.
Sure.
I'll sit down here too. Christians, by and large, seem to be oriented towards individual faith, and they seem to be reluctant to face the fact that at times war is necessary. Yes. They call the concept of a holy war being something that you have to struggle with. How have you looked at that? How do you take your faith and the need to sometimes go to war? How does that work for you? How have you? Because you're a very thoughtful man, and I know you've had to look at these issues and defend it.
Yes, the thing is this: my faith taught me to value life, to try to live by the same tenets that have been preached over the years, as contained in the Bible. But there comes a time when self-preservation takes precedent over and above whatever we may think suits us individually. Because by going to war, we are seeking to preserve, in our case, the children of God. If you do nothing, you become extinct. And there will be no one left to worship God, will there? Where we come from. So the best thing for us to do is to try as much as possible to reason or come to some level of agreement or accommodation with our adversaries, which has failed so far. The only alternative left for us is to go and meet them wherever we can find them. And we don't have any difficulties, because the reason why you have the U.S. Army is to preserve the ideals upon which this country is founded upon. Even your own body has its own defense immune system, isn't it? Without it, the human body will perish. Everywhere you go to, even in heaven, you have angels with their swords guarding the gates of heaven, against the forces of darkness and of hell. So even if you extrapolate the argument and take it away into the natural world, where nature rather than reason obtains, you will still see the same phenomenon and forces at play, that there is need for you to defend yourself.
I have another question, and that is, certainly our founding fathers had to struggle with that very issue. As it related to England, they had a strong faith, different faiths, possibly, but they had to come up with a Declaration of Independence. You are the vocal person that has really brought together Radio Biafra. What are the coalitions you have? Do you find that you have... How would you write your Declaration of Independence? What would be included within that? What are the values? Would there be religious freedom for other people who have a different point of view?
Yes, there will be religious freedom. We've had it before. By our very nature, by our name, Biafra means come and join. That's the meaning of it.
Yeah.
Everybody, including the Sultan of Sokoto, can seek asylum in Biafra, will respect him and will allow him to come in. It's in our nature, that's how we are. From childhood, your thoughts. If your mom is beating you up or whatever, or chastises you a lot, you just run to the next person. All you need to do is to hold them very tightly, and your mom or your dad will never touch you. We've always had it. So tolerance is interwoven in our essence, in our being. Freedom, freedom, freedom. In every way you can imagine it. There is a name, there's something we say will come from Onyenachia, means I can never judge you, it's between you and your God. So that tells you.
Absolutely.
We are the original architects of freedom, and the British will attest to that.
Yeah.
We never had any theocracy, no dictatorship, no kings, nothing for thousands of years. We are not about to start now.
For the first time, I think America, in the face of ISIS going into Syria and Iraq, has opened our eyes to the reality of the desire for a caliphate. We think of that now in terms of the Middle East, but Africa has been facing that for a long time. Talk to us about a little bit about the mission that the Islamic jihadists have within Africa to control all of Africa.
And to dovetail on that, it's because this tolerance and this freedom that Americans feel, that you feel, Boko Haram does not feel. And ISIS does not feel. And as near as I can tell, Islam does not feel. I'm not a judge of Islam. I don't know.
I would judge them because you don't live with them.
No.
I do.
Yeah.
So I can judge them.
Okay.
The fact of the matter is this. If you go back to the statements made by the man that brought this virulent form of Islam into Nigeria, made Othman Danfodio, from Othman Danfodio to Ahmadu Bello, the son, and right up until this very moment, there's been one common theme running through everything they have said, their ideology, their philosophy, their thinking, their way of life, which is to propagate violent Islam all the way to the ocean. That's something you must know. That work has continued unabated. Biafra is the only piece of unconquered Islamic territory in West Africa, and they are seeking to take it. They vowed to take Biafra. Is on tape, which we will supply you with. So you can see what these people are saying. When you bomb Afghanistan, when USA bombs Afghanistan, they kill us in Nigeria. When there is a cartoon of Prophet Muhammad, they kill us. Every blessed day we are dying. We live with the reality. The slow march of Islam has been ceaseless from time, encouraged by the British. Encouraged by the British. Whatever they have been. The British government, you may wish to know, has never supported the independence of any Christian country in the world since the beginning of time. But they have always consciously and studiously supported the emergence of an independent Islamic caliphate.
Yeah.
Lawrence of Arabia.
One of the criticisms that could come your way, or at least questions that could come your way, and that is Biafra does have control of the principal oil within Nigeria, were it to be formed under the present situation.
That is correct, yes.
That is a major obstacle, I would imagine, for people who are frightened of the fact that if you do gain control, they will lose the opportunity of having access to that. How do you approach, as an independent Biafra, the issues that are around the oil, around criticisms, and the resistance that will happen to your independence on the basis of that resource alone?
The resource, we believe in development, which means the oil will have to be sold to our friends and to our partners, and in return, I'm an economist myself, in return we get vital foreign exchange with which, or foreign reserves with which to try and develop other aspects of the economy. We believe in inward investment. We would like companies from countries that are friendly and supportive of Biafra to come in to invest in Biafra. We want investment. We don't want to be like Saudi Arabia, you sell oil and you buy everything else. No. Right. We want tangible, concrete investments to come in. We are not going to drain the oil. It's a natural resource. We need to give it to the economies of our friends to keep growing, because a very healthy U.S. economy or a very healthy EU economy is also going to be beneficial to Biafran. So we can find export markets for our goods and services. We are like that. I mean, we're not, we understand the intricacies of world economy and the need to make available to the international market your resources to continue to fuel human development. So, it is not a problem. Our oil fields and that very sector will be open to our friends, and only to our friends. You can't expect not to help us and then eventually we let you in. It's not going to work that way. But if you help us, of course, it's there for all to have access to. We've gone on record to say that oil is not our problem. All we want is freedom. Oil is not the issue. The issue is freedom. Once we have freedom and a semblance of dignity, then we can exist as human beings, because right now I don't see myself as a human being. A monkey is better than me because I don't have freedom.
One of the things that it's always impressed me, the more I've come to know about your country's history, is the productivity of your people through the ages. You have been, and now many of them who have left Nigeria are all over the world, being productive, hoping that this would happen. I know when Israel eventually became its own country, there was a homecoming, and probably millions of people going to their homeland again. Is that part of your vision? Tell us a little bit about your vision for the future.
They will come back, including some of you from the USA as well. That will be the most natural home for African American people. It will be natural. That will be very, very natural for them to come to, because if you look at the map of Biafra, which is right here in front of us, you will see that the rising sun is cleverly positioned on the black strip of the flag, which means that we bring light where there is darkness. That's what we do. Everybody will run open doors, not just for Biafrans, but also for African Americans that have not been able to connect with Africa for very many centuries. They can come back and become a part of it. Because mind you, most of the people that were taken away from Africa to come to work in the plantations of the USA came from the Bight of Biafra. This is where we come from. We open our doors for them to try and come back in. Everybody is welcome to come back, to be there.
One of the things they talk about in the Middle East is that none of the countries there outside of Israel pass the public square test. And the public square test is that you can stand on the corner of a street and be critical of their government and their religion and survive. It seems to me this is a stand for freedom and for liberty.
Yes.
And your focus on liberty is a very important part of what drives you.
Yes.
Talk to us a little bit about your own journey. I mean, you have gone through beatings. I understand you've been in
everything. I've been stripped naked and everything.
Talk to us a little bit about your journey, because it has been a personal one where you continue to be a voice for Biafra.
Yes. It started very many years ago. I was educated in England. I went to school in London, and upon graduation, I decided to serve my people, because I didn't like what was going on. We have a group of friends, about 6 of us from Africa. We said when we graduate, we pick one tiny African country and go there and try and develop it. Very, very thoughtful and quite progressive of us. And upon graduation, the rest got very blue chip jobs and developed cold feet. I decided to carry on with it because I felt that the only thing that makes you human is your ability to reason. And as an African, as somebody from Biafra land, unless my land reflects what I believe I possess up here, then I have not made any telling or meaningful contribution to the advancement of mankind. So I decided to plug ahead with it. I went home initially to try and see what we can do to start a revolution on the ground, because the existing order is essentially irredeemably corrupt, as you well know. So we started it, and it didn't quite go very well. I came back to the UK, reassembled, and went back again. We met a few people who started Radio Biafra.
Thank you so much, my wonderful viewers, for watching this video together with me from the beginning to the end. Like I said before, if you like what you see here, if you like what I do in this platform, as you have finished watching this video, please hit that red button that says subscribe and put on your notification bell to all notification. In that way, you'll be able to know when I upload a new video. Share my videos, leave your comments in the comment section constructively. Until I meet your way again in my next video, I still remain your Linda's TV show. Bye-bye.